like starting out Exquisite Magazine? Did you have all the resources?
I didn't have all the resources, but I had, so I went out there and sought knowledge, researching, reading. Basically, what I am today in terms of my entrepreneur journey has been learning on the job. Yes, I did do courses and things like that. But the one thing is, when you believe you can do it, then you're almost there. If you understand your values and you understand your principles, when certain things come into play, you'll be able to say no to them unapologetically, because it's not part of what you want to do or part of who you are. So a big thing, and I call this doing a self-audit, is to know yourself. There's a quote that says, to thy own self be true. Know who you are, so that when other people try to call you what you're not, you'll be able to say, this is who I am. These are my values, these are my principles. It goes against what I want to do. And you'll be able to stand your ground as well. Because trust me, people will push you.
They will.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Tewa Onasanya. I'm the founder of Exquisite Magazine, the ELOY Awards Foundation, and the EMAC Foundation. Keep watching Amplify Her Podcast.
Hello there, my name is Victory Wilson and this is Amplify Her Podcast. You are welcome to a place where we spotlight extraordinary women breaking barriers, doing amazingly in their fields and using their voices to inspire impact. It's more than just a conversation. Here, we amplify stories that matter and journeys that remind us of what is possible. If you're just joining us for the first time, make sure that you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you do not miss out on any, I'm talking about miss out. Don't miss out on any of the interesting conversations that we'll have here on Amplify Her. Today, I am joined by another amazing and outstanding woman in her rights. My guest is fantabulous, I dare say that. She is a visionary who turned her passion for women's stories into a movement. Her name is Dr. Tewa Onasanya. From founding Exquisite Magazine over 20 years ago to creating the ELOY Awards, she has redefined how women in leadership, business, and community impact are celebrated in Nigeria and beyond. Her work is more than media. It's about independence, visibility, and rewriting the narrative of what women can achieve. Ladies, join me welcome our guest today, Dr. Tewa Onasanya. Oh my God, I am excited to have you today.
I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you, Dr. Tewa. You are inspiring. I always say this, that what you do is inspiring. And it's great that we get to delve into the inspiring part of you today. I am excited about this conversation. But first, I don't think I've ever asked you how it feels to be doing what you do. You inspire a lot of people. You support women. You live a life of community service. How do you feel?
I feel good.
It's never overwhelming.
I feel great. Sometimes it does get overwhelming, but I suppose I'm very, very blessed to be doing what I love to do. So even the times where it does get overwhelming, the plus side to it is I wake up every day doing what I love doing. And, what else can anyone hope for or want?
You know what they say, don't love your job, job your love. That's what's been trending right now. Don't love your job, job your love. And I think you're jobbing your love. And it's amazing.
I saw, can you believe something turned it into a song? I was watching that
don't love your job, job your love. And I'm like, oh my God, these inspirational speakers are getting me. But then, talking about jobbing your love, if you look at it, it makes a lot of sense, right? You said you love what you do.
Yeah.
But when I read your profile for the first time ever, I found out that you studied pharmacology.
Yes, I did.
And then you transitioned to spotlighting women and doing what I call a movement, because you're a mindset stylist as well. What caused this transition? You're supposed to be like pure science,
I know, right?
With your lab coats.
Yes.
and doing experiments and all of that. But here
Yes.
you are, looking all chic, calm,
Thank
inspiring people
you.
every time. What caused this transition?
This transition, I suppose it's something that has always been there because, so I studied pharmacology because I actually wanted to become a medical doctor.
Oh.
And I always said to myself that I wanted to take care of people. I wanted to, make people feel that they're well, make people feel safe, that kind of thing. And I thought at that young age that I could only do that through medicine, taking care of people, nursing them and things like that. But I didn't get the grades. A levels kicked me.
Oh no.
So the option was for me to either do my A levels again or go into a degree and then move to medicine after the first year. But when I studied pharmacology, I liked it. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting. It's the study of drugs, the biology of drugs. And I enjoyed what I was doing. So I stayed on. But at the foundation of everything that's to do with me is that love or that passion to be able to inspire other people or make people feel safe and things like that. And in as much as I was a science student, well, I still am, so to speak.
You
science
still are.
student. Exactly.
You still are.
Exactly. I loved writing and I loved being, nicely look nice and fashion and things like that. Even when I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry, people used to say to me like, why are you dressed like that?
You should be a fashion designer or you should be a model.
I know, right?
Because Dr. Tewa is a complete model.
Thank you. Everyone used to wonder. It didn't click then that, I would go down this line. But everyone used to say, why are you so well dressed? Why are you, and I was just like, oh, this is what I liked, with my court shoes and blah, blah, blah. And then a few years into my role as a clinical data manager, I now realized that so I started the magazine in England. I now realized that there weren't that many magazines for women of color in England. In fact, then there were two. And I lived in the outskirts of London, which is about half an hour away from London. And even there, I couldn't get the magazines for black women. So on my drive home that day, I just thought to myself, you love writing, you love fashion, you want to inspire people. Instead of complaining about it, do something about it. And that's how the magazine started. And I strongly believe that as we grow older in life, both in experience and in age, things that we're passionate about will begin to come out.
Yeah.
And then, you begin to see that you started off wanting to become one thing and then you're evolving into something else as you're growing older, which is how, Exquisite started, the ELOY Award started, the EMAC Foundation started, and all of a sudden, I'm a mindset stylist. I've written 6 books.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So I'm evolving, and I'm sure...
A round of applause, ladies and ladies.
Thank you. I'm sure there's more to come by the grace of God.
Definitely, definitely. It's amazing, interesting.
Thank you.
But the thing I've noticed, we talked about it earlier, that one thing is common about these transitions. There's always a correlation at the end of the day because you just wanted to help people. You studied pharmacology, which is also tied to helping people.
Yeah.
And now you're still helping people through ELOY Awards,
Exactly.
Exquisite Magazine.
Exactly.
Let's talk about how you started Exquisite Magazine and ELOY Awards. Did you have all the support that you needed? Because right now, I know so many young people that want to go into things like this. Sometimes you get DMs from people. You have been spotlighted to feature in this magazine. We need certain amounts of support and all of that. There are many people that want to do this, that also want to help spotlight people. How is it like starting out Exquisite Magazine? Did you have all the resources?
I didn't have all the resources, but I had one thing that I always say to people, be it business owners or career professionals, that you have to believe in yourself. So the only thing I had going for me when I started Exquisite was the fact that I strongly believed that I could do it. So I went out there and sought knowledge, researching, reading. Basically, what I am today in terms of my entrepreneur journey has been learning on the job. Yes, I did do courses and things like that. But the one thing is, when you believe you can do it, then you're almost there. And then you now start to look for, ways to now make it work. So I strongly believed I could do it. Bearing in mind that I'm a pharmacologist, nothing to do with mass comm, journalism, or anything. But I then now found people that were in those fields that could support what I was doing. People that already knew how to run a magazine, people that are, loved writing as well, all the different things that we needed to put together to pull a magazine out. And part of my learning curve, one day I went to a bookstore and I found a book titled How to Start a Magazine. I still have the book till today. It was unbelievable. I was like, what are the odds? Like just going out there, you see. So I read that book cover to cover, highlighting different parts and, just going through it and looking at how magazines run. That was when I realized that, okay, magazines are meant to have 60% advert, 40% content, because it's meant to be a tool for people to promote themselves. And the first time I saw that, I got excited because I was like, £1,000 times 60. Oh,
that's
a
lot of money.
I'm rich. But it didn't quite
Let's
work.
go make some money. But did the money come immediately?
No. It didn't quite work like that. But I say to people now that when we started, or when I started, there wasn't Google then. There was something called Ask Jeeves. I mean, maybe I just showed my age, but hey, Ask Jeeves, that you could, do like and research and do things like that. And all the resources that are available now, if we had them then, I mean, things would have been different. But there's so many things that, we didn't have, like I said, learned on the job, speaking to people, making sure that, I'm able to do the best with the abilities that I have. And in terms of, and this is why I always say to people, I mean, you don't have to, but I always say have a first degree, because there are always some transferable skills with your first degree that can go into
no knowledge is a waste.
It's lost, knowledge. Exactly.
But then a magazine, 60% advertorial, 40% content.
Yeah.
How were you able to get those that would advertise their business on the magazine?
Do you really
did
think
they
we
pay
got 60%?
you?
I started on the job. I started Exquisite Magazine learning on the job. And yes, I did get excited thinking that, oh my God, we're going to get 60% adverts and things like that. But it didn't quite work out like that. Obviously, I'm new in the business. And new in the business, not even only that, but I didn't really have a business acumen behind what I was doing. I'm a science student, remember?
Yes.
So I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about business. So some of the people that even placed ads, place them for free. Because I was like, oh, my friend has this business. Come and advertise in Exquisite. Come and do this, come and do that. So we did waste a lot of money in terms of just printing the magazine. And because I've been I've worked in the pharmaceutical industry for many years, I had some money that I could use to
and you were just okay, like, I'm investing in my future.
Exactly,
no problem. I'm investing.
Exactly.
I know that feeling.
So when we started, we didn't get that many, but eventually it began to grow. But it still didn't grow to the point that I wanted it to. Reason being, I wasn't marketing it or selling it or looking at it like a proper business, because I still had, that's why I had to go back to school. And when I say go back to school, I'm talking about, courses and things like that, learning how to market your business, learning how to put a proper structure in place to run a business. So all of that had to now come into play.
Amazing. Now, you've told me about the challenges. I'm interested in knowing how you overcame. Tell us about the first successful publication that actually brought money. Not the one that you did for free. When you know how they say, tell us about your first million.
Yes.
But this is not your first successful publication. How it happened. Just tell us a story.
Yeah. So it was a case of, you remember we started in England and then started bringing it to Nigeria. And when we started, it was more of the content in England and then for Black people. And then eventually we started bringing the magazine to Nigeria. And we realized that people in Nigeria don't necessarily want to know what's happening in England, even though they do, but not as much as people in England wanting to know what's happening in Nigeria. So we turned the content around, or swapped the content around. So it was a content of more Nigerian stuff, but the people in England could feed off it as well. So we started selling ads to, to companies here. And then it was, it was looking good, because even some of them wanted to attract the people in the diaspora. And so that started being like, oh, okay. But we did have a little bit of a challenge, because the agencies in Nigeria don't pay you until 60 or 90 days later.
Yes, and it's so annoying. And you're like,
Exactly.
who brought those laws?
Ideas into play? Yeah, so that happened.
But why? I think I need to speak with some of them. We need to know why. We'll get to that later.
I suppose we do. Maybe it's because, I suppose maybe then some publications say, okay, we're printing, and then don't print because of whatever reason. Maybe that's why they put that clause in place. But that was started. And, when we got the first magazine that had Nigerian advertisers, UK advertisers, we were able to print successfully. Yay! Okay, so we can actually make money.
And this was after how many prints?
This was after God knows how many. I mean, we started in 2003. So I'm talking maybe 2007, 2008.
Wow.
There was a particular
3, 4,
year.
5, 6, 7. That's 3 years
I
after.
know. More, yeah, about that. There was a particular year, I think it was 2006 or 7, that we couldn't print a copy of Exquisite Magazine. It had been running on my savings, plus my partners, and we couldn't print for a year. It was so unbelievable. I was just like, okay, you've collected all these free ads. And then I had a limiting belief about asking people for money. So it was, that even added to the fact that people were not paying, and I was just using my savings to print a magazine, thousands of magazines, thousands of copies. So when that, went through, it was like, okay, yeah, so we can make money from doing this. And people want to be visible as well. So
Amazing. I just counted 3 whole years. But what kept you going? Is it because you had the money, like you've worked in the pharmacology industry and you had money, you're like, okay, I'm investing, and you didn't care? Because 3 years is a lot.
it is a lot.
For you to run on your own funds entirely. Were you doing other
Yeah.
things? What kept you going?
I think part of what kept me going was the fact that I strongly believed we can make something out of it. And, challenges will come. But then again, it's how you're able to now work with the challenges.
But that's a lot of
We had
patience.
It is a lot of patience, and not everyone has that kind of patience. But then again, I still had money that I could use. And remember that there was a particular year we couldn't print. So
Were you doing something else on the side?
on the side? That year, 2006, yes. I think, yes. So before I transitioned into fully doing Exquisite, I was still working. So I came off work, I think about early 2006, because I had my son in 2007, yes. So, yep. So it was still money from then. And then still now, trying to make it work. And
So from this story you've told us now, from your story, which is really, really unique, should we now say that when you have a dream, it's not enough reason for you to quit your job?
No, it's not.
So you can
better
still
make
keep
sure-
working
Yeah.
so that you can fund your dream. So it's valid to do it that way.
Yeah, not everybody can, but if you can stay on that job for as long as you can, I would advise that you do that. And bear in mind that not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur as well. And it took me 3 years to get to a point because I didn't have that business acumen. Yeah, that business mindset, which is very, very important, because you can't start a business and just think, oh, it's, pay money, take money, that's it. You have to be able to run a proper business. And I didn't have that proper structure in place, because if I had, why would I be collecting ads for free?
And, they say
And then we
knowledge is
had bills
power.
to pay. Yeah.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then the field you were going into, we only had men. I mean,
Yeah.
I know growing up, the only magazine I knew was the Ovation magazine, owned by a man, actually. And now we have Exquisite Magazine, owned by a woman. Did you face any challenge because of your gender, one? And secondly, you're already a mother when you decide to pursue this career that brings you out.
Yeah.
Because you need to be out there, you need to be at events, you need to be on public spaces, platforms, and all of that. And you're creating a public platform as well. Challenging for a gender stereotype that we have in the world today. So were there any challenges, and how were you able to push through that?
So it's interesting you mentioned gender, because when I got to Nigeria, when I started coming back to Nigeria, I never thought I was a woman in publishing. I just thought I was a human being in publishing.
That's a good way to say.
Yeah, and luckily, when I was younger or growing up, our parents never said anything about, oh, you're a girl, you shouldn't do that. When I was in secondary school, I played football because I loved it, kind of thing. So I never had that at the back of my head until when I started coming to Nigeria, and people will, I would do interviews and they would say, oh, how is it being a woman in a woman in public? And I'd be like, is there something that I'm missing, kind of thing? So I never had that. And I think it's also like a mindset thing, because if you believe in something, or if something has been instilled in you for so long, you will begin to believe it. So I never believed I was a woman in publishing. I just believed I was a human being in publishing. And I think that helped me because I didn't see myself as a woman in publishing. And when I got into publishing, it was just something that it's a magazine for women. It's what I wanted to do. So I wasn't poaching in anybody's territory anyway. apart from maybe the other female magazine, but I've always seen myself as being in competition with myself. So not in competition with any other people, because nobody can be me and I can't be them. So we're all doing things in different spaces, so to speak. So I never thought that. I didn't even know that it was a thing until I started, getting questions about that. Now, in terms of being a mother, being in the public eye, running a business and things like that. So when I started Exquisite Magazine, so I had my daughter in 2004 and my son in 2007. And it was just me, this is what I want to do. Like a normal person wanting to, go into a job, so to speak. I didn't think that having children will deter me or anything. So it was just me going about my job. But eventually, I realized that I had this mindset that had to be changed eventually. And that mindset was, I didn't need to be seen. The business should be seen. And that was a negative for so many years. Reason being, eventually I realized that people do business with who they know. So if you're saying that, oh, nobody should know, who I am, everybody should know Exquisite. Nobody should, Tewa, they don't need to know that. That had a negative effect on the business, because everybody wanted to know who the founder of Exquisite Magazine was. And I was just like, no, I didn't need to be known. I was doing the job. I had people who were doing the job and everything else.
And we see that these days too. You see blogs, faceless bloggers trying to come out now because people want to know who is behind the platform. So
really,
does it transition to, or does it transcend rather to other businesses as well? You own a business, you must come out. If not, it would affect your sales and performance.
It transcends to all business, unless you have somebody else that is the face of the business. People will do business with who they know. People also do business based on emotional pulling, so to speak. Because if they like the way you speak or like the way you transact with them, they would want to do more with you. And if they don't, they won't want to, and then move to somebody else. But that visibility is very important, which is what we preach at Exquisite Magazine. It's very, very important. So in terms of having children and, doing what I needed to be doing, that wasn't a deterrent. I was still able to do what I needed to do. And I had help though. I must add that, because in running a business or even being a career woman, you need to factor in all the different things you need to do so you're not dropping the ball. I mean, my children were quite young, so I did need help and I had help. So I was able to do everything that I wanted to do. And I'm glad I did.
It looks like you had it easy, but I know you didn't have it easy.
No, I didn't.
We're still going to get to sharing a story with us of a time where you got so overwhelmed and tired and felt like quitting. I'm sure you had times
quite
like
a
that.
number of times.
Can you share with us just
quite
one?
A number of times.
Just one.
I can share a number, but
that
I'll
was
share
very
one
significant.
One. Right. Can I share two?
Okay,
Exquisite Magazine and ELOY Awards.
And ELOY, we're even going to ELOY because ELOY, what you do with ELOY is amazing. But before that, you've told me a lot. And before I move to this next question, I just want to hear that one time you felt like quitting, because you're human as well. People will be listening and saying, okay, she had help. Okay, she had a job. Okay, she had money. Okay, it's like she had it easy. I want you to tell them that, no, you didn't have it easy.
No, I didn't have it easy.
And you had to surmount some turbulence as well.
Of course. No, I didn't have it easy. And nobody has it easy, actually. No one. Because even if you have all the help or the support or the money in the world, there will still be some challenges.
Of course.
Even the Bible says that the weapons will form, but it just won't get you.
But they will not prosper.
Exactly. So it's how you work with the challenges that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I had support and everything else, but there were still challenges. Mindset challenges, actually, because when you get to a certain point, I mean, when I started coming to Nigeria, I was thinking, oh my God, will anyone want to do business with me? I didn't go to Grady Fair. I didn't go to Unilag. You know how you're in the room and
you go
everyone's
to
like,
UNN.
And I'm just like, oh my God, they're going to think, you didn't even go to university here. How are you coming into our space to kind of... So I had that mindset as well, that I had to now, force myself to let go of. So there are mindset challenges. Of course, there are financial challenges as well. I mean, yes, you have money to be able to do X, Y, Z, but money runs out. And when money runs out, you need to be able to look for the next available option in terms of now making your business a proper business and scaling the business. I had challenges of being a pharmacologist, not knowing, much about business, and then now having to retune my mind and learn as well to be able to run a proper business. I mean, the business is now 22 years old. It took a lot of grit It took a lot of sweat.
2 decades plus.
Exactly. Took a lot of sweat as well. Took, losing a few things as well.
Let's get to the story. Because you're transitioning and I don't want you to transit. Let's get to the story. I want to hear the sweat, the stress, the tears, because it's 22 years.
Yes.
To own a successful business, a thriving business in Nigeria for 22 years is not been. So the time you almost quit and you're like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore.
For Exquisite Magazine, the story that comes to mind, even though there are quite a number, is one where we started printing the magazine in China. And then, because we didn't get the quality that we wanted here. So there was one particular month, and we used to print every month. There was one particular month, NACO was on strike.
Oh my.
The magazines came into Nigeria, and my magazines sat on the tarmac for a whole week. And it rained.
Oh.
And the magazines were not put into plastic bags, and almost half of thousands of magazines were ruined. And I just sat in my living room thinking, what is the point? There's no point in doing this. If it's not personal factors, it's environmental factors, and then the, other people, extenuating factors that has nothing to do with you. That was a point that I almost gave up. Like, we can't do this anymore. It's not sustainable. Because anybody could go on strike on any time. What's going to happen? And guess what? We had to service our advertisers. We had to service the people who had subscribed to the magazines already. We had to, we had to do all those kind of things. But eventually, we salvaged the ones that we could. A few people understood, and then we moved on. But those are kind of like, some of the tiny stories that.
But when they finally came, were they spoiled? They were soiled?
Yeah, half of it, because they were stuck together.
That's resources wasted already.
And money wasted. All the way. The magazines came all the way from China, and they sat on the top.
That must
cried.
Have been so heartbreaking.
It was unbelievable.
And I hope it didn't happen in the year that many people did not pay money. Because it will now be so annoying that these people did not even pay money to advertise. I used my money to advertise their business and rain. Oh, this is such a bad omen.
No, it wasn't that. It was when we had, gotten to a bit more stability. And then we had agencies say, 90 days, 60 days, but we were able to salvage what we could. And that was the year we started thinking, okay, we need to start looking for alternatives. What are we going to do if this thing happens again? In terms of weather, in terms of different extenuating circumstances that was, certainly beyond our control. And we started thinking into the future. And when I say thinking into the future, we became digital before quite a number of magazines, because we foresaw that it wasn't sustainable to be sending the magazines all the way from China.
That's a lot of stress.
And we had to work 2 months in advance, because we need to put into consideration the magazines getting to Nigeria. And then every January to March, we had to do our issues way before, because China goes on a 1-month holiday in February.
Yeah.
So those are all the different things that we had to work with.
So going digital was the best.
It was.
It was the best. Now let's go to ELOY. I'm excited about ELOY because it is a special platform for women as well. Just like Amplify Her is for women, ELOY is for women. You spotlight women doing amazingly well and just try to celebrate them, give them a pat on the back and let them know that they're doing well. And it's been on for how many years now?
This is our 17th year.
17th year.
Yep.
Over a decade. See, it's not easy, and you've been doing this year in, year out.
Yes.
17 years you've celebrated women.
Yes.
Has there been any story that stood out for you that made you feel fulfilled? It's one thing to do that, and some people might think, oh, you're doing it for the money. You know how most award platforms collect money to celebrate people. I know that ELOY's voting platforms are completely free.
Transparent.
And yes, transparent.
Yep.
When I give you your flowers when you can hear them, you think I'm joking. I'm not joking. I do it intentionally because what you do deserves to be celebrated. It's something that not everyone can do, and you do it effortlessly well. Now you've been celebrating people. You're welcome. You're welcome. You've been celebrating people for 17 years. Has there been any story that stood out for you?
There's so many stories with the ELOYs.
The one that, really touched you and you said, no, I can never forget this.
Yeah.
And it just fueled your passion to continue celebrating women.
In 2017, That ELOYs was the most stressful one ever. I almost even, in fact, I said after that ELOYs, I wasn't doing it again.
Oh,
That's it. I mean, sponsors
What
didn't want to.
happened?
Sponsors didn't want to sponsor. You know, everything was going against it. But guess what? Almost everyone that got onto the stage to receive an ELOY had a story of them giving up. They wanted to give up, and then someone said, "You've been nominated for an ELOY." I remember two particular stories. One woman said she wanted to commit suicide. She was the radio presenter of the year in 2017. She said she wanted to commit suicide because she felt like she wasn't going anywhere. And then someone called and said, "Oh my God, you've been nominated for an ELOY." And that turned things around for her. Another lady said she wanted to give up her business because she felt like people didn't see her. People weren't noticing her. People weren't supportive of what she was doing. And then she got a call that she was nominated for an ELOY. I got onto that stage that day crying, and people were wondering why she was crying. In fact, somebody came to meet me at the end that you were crying because you have hammered Abby. I was like,
not knowing that no sponsor dropped nada.
Can you imagine? I was like, I wish I was crying because I had hammered. I was crying because I said to God that day that after this ELOY, that would be the end of it. But yet, people got on stage saying that because of ELOY, they didn't quit their business and she didn't take her life.
God was telling you, see, you're going nowhere, my daughter.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Even if it's for people that didn't feel seen, but now started, getting that visibility, even for those people, celebrating the people that ordinarily won't be celebrated, sustaining women empowerment with our conferences, we'll keep at it, come rain or sunshine. And that's where we are today.
Amazing.
17 years on. We're the biggest award ceremony for women in Nigeria and the most consistent.
And credible as
and the
well.
most
You need
credible.
to add credible.
The most credible. Nobody pays for an ELOY. I can put my hand on my chest. Nobody pays for an ELOY. It's by merit. We have the criteria that we go through. Your leadership skills, indirect or direct, your commitment to what you're doing, your integrity. All of those things matter.
They matter. So that when you hold an ELOY award, you know that you deserve it.
You deserve it.
You earned it.
Exactly, you've earned it. And a lot of people think that, I know the winners of the ELOY. Over half of the people that win an ELOY, I don't know them. In fact, some of them, I meet them on the day. I don't know anybody. So it's a case of, and that is why we always throw it to the public. But the public nominates and the public votes. Yes, we have a board that goes through and makes sure that everybody fits the criteria, because people can just hire God knows who and get people to be voting. But we still do the due diligence and check the credibility. But it's a case of, if you are a woman doing exceptionally well in your field, showing that leadership skills, showing that integrity, showing that confidence, pulling other women up with you as well, you will be nominated for an ELOY and you could win one. Yes, we're doing the community service in terms of training these business women, making sure that they're building a sustainable platform for themselves and XYZ. But we have boxes that we have to tick, because this is what the foundation is about. If we're about building, helping women to build thriving businesses, then we're making sure that we're doing that. And then we're making sure that we're bringing people on board to help us tick these boxes. And we're making sure that we also have a sustainability plan that helps the foundation to continue growing. That's a way of doing business.
Yeah.
It might not be profitable in terms of, we've raised XYZ money that is for the company, but we have to sustain the company. We have to sustain the foundation to be able to every year
Keep
go
running.
out and do exactly. So it's putting that structure in place, making sure that, yes, it's an NGO, but it's still an informal business that has to be run with a proper structure being put in place.
Because without structure, any business is going to fall
Everything
without
crumbles,
structure.
without structure. And, now I'm talking about structure and people are looking at me she's talking about structure. She knows what. No, I didn't start off knowing about structure. I learned on the job. And once you've been beaten a few times, you begin to understand that, okay, this is important. And there's so many things that you can't do by yourself. And you have weaknesses that you need other people's strength to support, and you have strength that other people's weaknesses, and then you marry those together. So that's the way we've been able to do it.
Yeah. So now let's talk about women, leadership, independence. See, we've been talking about leadership a lot, but independence, gone are those days when the society says women should stay in the background and women listen. Now, women also want to come out.
Of course.
But most people don't even know how to. You have come out, you are out there, and still creating platforms for people. So now you're on Amplify Her. I want you to just give us some tips, steps. Those that want to come out, that want to do something for themselves, want to live a life of impact. What are the steps that they can take? What can they do to help themselves?
Right. The first thing is to be clear on what you want to do or who you want to be. Clarity is important.
Very important.
Because if you're not clear on what you want to do, everything will just seem like, it's either overwhelming or underwhelming.
Yeah.
And you're not even sure where your place is. So it's being clear. From a very, very young age, I had been clear on what I wanted in life. And I feel like I'm so blessed to be able to have, been able to articulate what I wanted. I have been very clear. This is what I want to do in terms of serving people. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to look.
Yes.
As well. Because remember, I was in the pharmaceutical industry and I was dressed in a certain way because I had a vision of what I wanted to look like. So the first thing is being clear. And then you have to also have that vision of what you want to achieve. Because if you don't see yourself with that vision in your mind's eye first, you won't be able to pull it into reality. Being independent or being out there or being visible, whatever it is you want to do, also needs to be done in steps. Because you can't wake up one day and think, I'm all the way up there. It has to be done in steps. I'm making sure that you understand that it has to be done in steps. But the big work is that internal work. Who do you see yourself as? What do you want to do? Who are you becoming? Who do you want to support or who do you want to help? What is your value? What are your principles? Those are very, very key because if you understand your values and you understand your principles, when certain things come into play, you'll be able to say no to them unapologetically because it's not part of what you want to do or part of who you are. So a big thing, and I call this doing a self-audit, is to know yourself. There's a quote that says, to thy own self be true. Know who you are. So that when other people try to call you what you're not, you'll be able to say, this is who I am. These are my values. These are my principles. It goes against what I want to do. And you'll be able to stand your ground as well. Because trust me, people will push you.
They will. And life itself will push you.
And life will life.
But then as women, they want to come out. I like everything you've listed. But then there's still a place of culture. There's a place of tradition. There's a place of... even when they say women, the reason why society says women should not really come out is because of the fear of power management.
We are too powerful.
Yeah, and some people don't know how to manage their power. According to, I'm trying to play the devil's advocate. Women don't know how to manage power.
Says who?
And that's why they are still scared of giving us certain positions.
Says who? Do men know how to manage power?
Do men know how to manage power? Either ways.
The thing is...
So how can a woman successfully balance that?
Once you know what you want to do, and once you're clear on the direction you want to go, you just start.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing. Not waiting for the perfect conditions.
Just start.
You start anyway. Everybody can do anything they want to do. It just depends on how much belief you have in yourself. Yes, some people do get power drunk. And it's not only, specific to women. It's specific to every gender. As well. Yeah, to men or to women. But you have to I always say that, be true to yourself and be disciplined enough to know what works and what doesn't work. And you're talking about balance. I think there's, you can't really strike that balance, but find a way to integrate what you're doing. Every woman and every man knows, know what their place is at home and know what their place is at work. So you being able to know what you're supposed to do when it comes to your home front and know what you're supposed to do when it comes to the public front or the business or career front. And then just being able to, one way or the other, marry them. In my words, integrate them. Confidence isn't built in one day. You have to try and try and try till you get to a certain point where you're comfortable in your skin.
And repeated exposure does the magic.
Exactly. And we learn by repetition. And
we keep
repetition
doing it.
reaps reward.
Of course, there's a
Yeah.
reward for everything.
There's a reward for
If you decide to
everything.
sit down and fold your arms, there's a reward for
There's
it.
a reward
If you
for
decide to
that.
put in the work, there's definitely a reward
Yes,
for it.
and we're always making choices.
Yes, we are.
We're always making choices.
We
So
are.
you're either making a choice that, that propels you to go forward, or making a choice that makes you just sit in
Sit
your
back.
comfort zone.
Amazing, amazing. You've said it all, actually.
Thank
And
you.
you're not just saying it all. You're actually working.
I live
You're
it.
working the. Okay, I wanted to play with pun there. You're working the words.
Exactly.
My own kind of
I
pun.
like
You're
that.
working the words,
I like
and
that,
it's
working the
amazing
words.
with what you do with Exquisite Magazine and ELOY. But I'm just here thinking, what's your mindset in the next 10 years?